Hello, welcome to my first Q&A video, long overdue. I got a surprisingly good response when I asked for questions. I got a lot of questions, a lot of good questions as well, more than I was expecting, 16, 17, something like that. So that's good. Thank you to everyone who sent in questions. You all know how long it takes me to answer one question, so this video could literally last forever. This could be the longest Q&A session you've ever seen. Strap yourselves in, because you ain't going nowhere. Actually, you may want to just pause right now, go make yourself a cup of tea or something, because this could take a long time. If I do end up rambling forever, I will post the videos over consecutive days, so you don't have to just watch me talking endlessly. But yes, thank you to everyone who sent me questions. Very good questions. Lot to do, so let's begin. First question's from Rcage85, otherwise known as Russell Cage. The reason I did that is his name isn't actually Cage, but yeah, from the Russell Cage Experience, which is another review show here on YouTube. He's a good friend of mine on YouTube. I urge you to check him out, subscribe to him. I'm subscribed to him. He does good reviews, and he actually does reviews, unlike me and Bobby, who constantly forget. If you subscribe to him, you will actually see a Smackdown review every now and then, so that'll be nice. And also, he does research. Can you believe it? Unlike me, who just comes on and pretend he's in the know. He actually is in the know. He does read things. So check him out. Anyway, he sent me two questions, rather unseasonal. He's asking me about the Royal Rumble. Who do you think will win this year's Royal Rumble? And what's your favourite Royal Rumble moment of the ones you've seen? These questions are quite close to my heart, because the Royal Rumble has always been my favourite pay-per-view. I had the 1990 Rumble, and I watched it between the age of 4 and 7, pretty much religiously. I watched it a lot, like once a week. And during that period, when I was watching that Royal Rumble, my brothers told me wrestling wasn't real, aged about 6, so I had to go through that whole thing where you were like, at first you thought it was all real and it was amazing, and then you had to sort of learn that it's not real, but that's still okay. So basically, during this Rumble, I changed from a Mark into a Smart fan. Basically, by the time I was 7, I was like, oh fucking hell, why did Hogan win that? So yeah, so my favourite Royal Rumble moment has to be pretty much anything in the 1990 Royal Rumble, except for Hogan winning. I mean the whole pay-per-view as well. I remember lots of the match on it, the Fabulous Rougeaus, or whatever they're called, against the Bushwhackers, and then it was rugged Ronnie Garvin versus Greg the Hammer Valentine. I think Jake the Snake fought someone. It was Jim Duggan versus the Big Boss Man. I remember all of that. The best Royal Rumble is the 1992 Royal Rumble, which may well be, this was a video I bought when I was about 10, and this may well be the best match ever, in my view. It's just, there's so much booking that goes on in a Rumble, and this one I just thought was exceptional. Ric Flair wins, and I was expecting Hulk Hogan to win the whole way. Just a great match, loved it. So yeah, 1990 Royal Rumble, anything in it. I remember lots of stuff. I think Hogan and the Warrior squared off, which wasn't very interesting. Then it's Hogan and Mr. Perfect at the end. Yeah, that was great. Who do I think will win this year's Royal Rumble? Well, this was much more tricky a few days ago, actually. When I originally received this question, I was thinking they haven't done the underdog thing for a while. They haven't done the Chris Benoit, Rey Mysterio. So I was thinking someone who had been around for a long time, but hadn't really got the breaks yet. So I was thinking maybe Christian. I thought that would be good. But actually, I believe once again it's going to be his tag team partner that gets the rub. I have no problem with that, incidentally, because Edge is injured now, and it says he'll be out to January 2010. And we all know what happens January 2010, and we all know what Edge's character is. Edge's character is the guy who comes back and instantly gets himself back in the title picture. So I'm going to pick Edge to win the 2010 Royal Rumble, and I think that'd be the right decision. I'd really like that if that happens, so fair enough. He's not won one yet. No, he's not won one yet, so that'd be good. Okay, next question is from PerfectSylence. I just want to know if you ever think Raw will get better than Smackdown. Well, yes. is the simple answer. Yes, I definitely do think Raw will be better than SmackDown. I don't think we'll have to wait too long for that to happen either. If you look back at my early reviews, which I would urge you not to do because they're shit, you'll notice that it was Raw in the build up to WrestleMania that I considered to be the good show, and SmackDown that was shit. So yeah, these things come in cycles, you know. Sometimes SmackDown's good and Raw's not, sometimes Raw's good and SmackDown's not, but these things never stay, and Raw is the one show that will never be bad forever, because Raw's the one they really care about. Raw's the flagship show, and I think this latest 15-man trade showed how much they care about Raw, the fact they just threw these ECW superstars into it, whereas, you know, SmackDown got Finlay and Matt Hardy, who are just fucking terrible. And I think Vince McMahon, all these guest hosts, all that sort of stuff, he's really trying to invigorate Raw. Unfortunately, he's not understanding the problems with Raw, which is that everything is far too gimmicky, it's far too geared towards non-wrestling fans. That's the problem with Raw. He's trying to solve these problems by making it even more gimmicky, but eventually Raw will get it right again. In every draft they're going to get the pick of the crop. This year they decided to take the four main guys as they see it: Batista, Triple H, John Cena, and Randy Orton. What they didn't realize when they did that is that those four guys, no one wants to fucking see them. Basically, John Cena's, you know, he's not very good in the ring, he's good on the mic. Triple H bores the hell out of me. Randy Orton is quite boring himself in a way. You know, he's good, I like him, he's good in the ring, he's good in the mic, but he is not the most interesting guy. Batista, lump of wood. So yeah, they've just made an error in judgment there. But eventually Raw will be back on top. It will produce the better wrestling. I think overall SmackDown is the show that's going to be better in the long run, because SmackDown has a better ethos. It's all about good wrestling. But yeah, Raw will definitely get better than SmackDown one day. In fact, I'd be surprised if it wasn't better than SmackDown by next year, say. Okay, Treasure Fan 02, he asked me 4 questions, so here's the first one. Who will be the next technical wrestler to reach mass appeal, for example, Kurt Angle and Bret Hart? Well, I think the WWE is pretty adamant that it's going to be Jack Swagger, who's the next technical wrestler to reach mass appeal, and fair enough, because I, like everyone else, went through the transition with Jack Swagger of thinking, this guy's fucking shit, this guy's totally overpushed crap, to now thinking, wow, this guy's really good. I wish he could improve his mic skills, but he's really good. Bret Hart never improved his mic skills, but mic skills are more important these days, and Kurt Angle, of course, is the perfect example, because Kurt Angle's mic skills are immaculate. So Jack Swagger needs to get himself up near that level, but they continue to push this guy, and they're going to keep pushing him to the limit. So I expect Jack Swagger to be the next technical wrestler. He needs to work on his finishing move. I was thinking maybe he should get a submission hold as his finishing move, like Bret Hart and Kurt Angle, of course, have. But yeah, Jack Swagger, in short. This last question of this part comes from Napman22. Would you say Shane McMahon is more hardcore than Jeff Hardy? Because from the looks of his previous pay-per-view matches, he seems to have major balls. No, is the answer. Shane McMahon, he did some crazy shit. He did, but he only had like 8 matches, you know, over, you know, there was like 6 months between each match. He's not exactly a consistent wrestler, whereas Jeff Hardy does crazy stuff every day, and I'd say the stuff Jeff Hardy does is more crazy. Nowadays, they're both doing less crazy stuff. Jeff Hardy isn't doing nearly the sort of stuff he used to do when he was proving himself. And Shane McMahon, like, there is no reason for him to be in the ring anymore. I think his recent matches proved that. He does nothing exciting. You know, basically all he does is a few arm drags, then sweats a lot. That's his whole role. So yeah, Shane McMahon, I don't think he was ever better than Jeff Hardy, and he still isn't. Having said that, Shane McMahon versus Kurt Angle in that street fight at King of the Ring, I believe it was it? I think so. The one where Kurt Angle repeatedly suplexed Shane McMahon over his head onto glass, which was supposed to be sugar glass, but was actually, I don't know, Pyrex by the looks of it, because it wouldn't fucking break. That was one of the sickest things I've ever seen. That was one of the best well, it wasn't one of the best matches, but it was one of the matches I most enjoyed ever. That was my kind of hardcore match, not the kind of ECW staple someone's eye sort of stuff. That was what I liked. Yeah, really good. But no, I'd say Jeff Hardy. I don't like Jeff Hardy. I think most people know that, but I'd say Jeff Hardy is more extreme, to use his words. Okay, part 2 coming up.